Kaduna Polytechnic. I went to further.
Everybody watching me right now, I welcome you all again to another fantastic edition of The Moment with your girl Christiana on Dynamic Smile TV. Okay, so this week is gonna be so interesting as usual because we have something on the table which everybody will be beneficiaries of. Okay, we're gonna be talking about building with specification. I know most of you must have seen the topic somewhere online on our page, and you must have been wondering what this is all about, or you might have, lost interest in wanting to watch. But I need you to invite your friends right now because you know why? We all are going to be learning. You know what they say, that knowledge is inevitable, and it is important that we all get knowledge. Either you are a builder or you're not, either you're a science student or you're not. It is necessary that you learn. The moment is not just about entertainment, but also it is educative. Whether you're not a builder or not, you need to learn so that maybe if you want to build something, it is necessary that you know the ways around it, so that you will not be cheated or you will not be left out of. You understand what I mean? Okay, so right before we go into the topic of the day, we're gonna take a short break, and when we get back, we'll be unraveling the face of the guest in the house, and he's no other person but Mr. Ibidun Benjamin. Is an architect, and he's going to be talking to us about what building with specification is all about. So please don't go away. We'll be right back, and when we get back, we'll be unraveling the face of the guest. Thank you. On Dynamic Smile TV with Christiana. Like I said, we have in the house Mr. Ibidun Benjamin. He is an architect and is the guest tonight. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
How was your trip down here?
Fine, thank God.
First, I must say that we really appreciate the fact that we called you and you responded to our call. Being on this show tonight is such a great moment that we'll never forget. Thank you very much,
it's
sir.
My pleasure.
Okay, so right before we go into the topic of the day, we'd like the viewers in the house to meet you. We want to know you. And I must say that you're very, very handsome.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're married, but it's just a compliment.
Thank you very much.
And I know what they say about people with glasses. We are always very... Okay, so what is your name, sir? Can you introduce yourself?
Well, just as you have earlier mentioned, my name is Benjamin Ibidun. I'm an architect by profession. I practice with architect consultants as a senior architect. Presently, I've served over 18 years with the firm,
wow.
And that's a consultancy firm. And I'm married, and married to Oluwatoyin Ibidun, and we are blessed with a set of triplets.
Whoa.
David, Daniel, and Daniela.
Wow, DDD.
Yes.
Triplets.
Triplets.
At once.
At once.
Wow, that's miraculous.
That's after 8 years of waiting.
Wow,
yeah.
Wow. God is such a wonderful God.
Thank you very much.
There's always a story to tell behind every smile. Okay, so why architect actually? Because I have these reservations about anything pertaining to science. Maybe because I'm an art student and I I went into the arts department. Most times when I see some people studying some particular kind of courses, I'm always marveled, and I wonder why they actually chose it, because I feel there is more to life in arts than science. So why did you go to study architecture?
In the first place, architecture is an interesting course. While I was growing up, I did fine arts in school, and so in the process, you discover that you get to meet some other architects that are elderly, and I discovered something unique about them. I must be frank with you. I discovered that most architects that I see then, they are good looking, they have good rights. I said this must be a good profession.
Wow.
And aside that, the fact that I could do some little sketches now kind of gave me the motivation to go for that profession.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically it's a profession I love so much. I love imagining things, I love putting drawings down, just interpret what I have inside and just bringing it out. And yes, that makes it very interesting for me. I really don't like reading. I just want to design. I just want to come up with something fantastic.
Wow. But while you were studying the course, I'm sure you must have read.
Yeah, definitely. I know you still have to read.
And some
definitely,
calculations.
it involves a lot of calculations. You do structures.
Wow.
Even though you are an architect, you do structures as a course. You do history of architecture. A lot of, you definitely have to read. But, it's not like other professions that I have to be, but reading, we don't stop reading. That's the truth. But, it is easier for me to just get some imaginations and just put it down. So it makes things very easy for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So what school have you gone to that made you to bring out this gift that you have?
Yes. In fact, I've passed through a series of schools of architecture. Yes. I started with Kaduna Polytechnic. Later I went to Federal University of Technology, Akure. I ended up doing my master's at Eladoke Akitola University of Technology. Yes. I've done series of professional exams too. And so presently I'm an associate member of the Nigeria Institute of Architects.
Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, so can you tell us a bit about your family? Okay, you already said that you are triplets.
Yes.
David,
Daniela.
Daniela.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Wonderful kids.
Wow. Do they look like you or they look like their mother?
Well, they somehow shared. Some took part of me, some took part of their mom.
And is any one of them aspiring to become an architect?
Well, one shows interest, but the way, from the way the character exhibits, you sometimes see that some are just technically inclined, while some are just, academics. But we're watching.
Yeah, I like to ask this question majorly to, people that I see in some kind of profession or field. And that is, what would be your response if one of your children just walks up to you and says, maybe he or she's grown up already and says, Daddy, I want to be a rapper. That's what I want to become, a rapper, a Nigerian rapper. What would you... Okay, don't let me make it really personal. Let me say, what would you advise parents to do if they are working as maybe a lawyer, a doctor, and one of their kids just pops up and says, Daddy, Mommy, I want to be a rapper or a DJ?
No, honestly, this present dispensation that we're in, you can't really force children to go for a particular course. That's the truth. But you see, let's just allow God to lead, but allow them to go for that which they have interest in. Because I've had cases where some medical doctors will ask their wards to go for medicine, and they will end up becoming a musician. So allow them, and somehow you begin to see some traits of what they are likely to become in the nearest future. So you don't force them these days. So if your profession is good and you are performing well, I'm sure they'll probably pick interest in it. You don't have to force them. Don't force it on them.
I get that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Okay. So, right before we go into the topic, I would like to know what your hobbies are. What do you like? How do you, get yourself off work Because I'm sure you must be a very busy person. So how do you get to relax? Or there is actually no moment of relaxation?
There is. It's
so
just
what
that,
do you find yourself doing?
well, I love photography.
Like
to me, it's an hobby.
pictures?
Yes, taking pictures. Yes,
okay.
to me, it's an hobby.
Wow.
And I don't watch films, but I do most of. Do you know if I'm just sitting and sketching? It's like a hobby to me.
Okay, so can you sketch human beings or just?
That's art, but we do.
Wow.
It's part of what we do, but that is more of art.
Okay.
Because if I'm discussing with a client, if not for the technology that we're having these days, I should be able to sketch with a pen or pencil to just give an idea of what I believe my client is trying to say, yes, so that I just interpret it for him.
Okay, you talked about something about not knowing what a child. I'm sorry, we're going to go into the topic. You guys should just sit back, don't worry. You talked about knowing what a child wants to do or what a child finds interest in, and leading the child with prayers and allowing them to just do what they find interesting. Okay, so do you think that the educational system of Nigeria would allow that for a child? How do I mean? Most times I realize that, like you said, so many persons go to schools to study a particular course.
Yes.
And when they get out of school, it's another phase entirely whereby what they study, they don't find it out there.
That's true.
And so you see most persons that go to school to study, fine, I know there are a lot of doctors, but there are also lots of doctors that are not practicing, doctors or medicine. Now, do you think that the educational system is helping in that area whereby a child can actually develop the innate gift or ability and, in future work as it? For example, some persons, they notice that they find interest in music. Some find interest in acting. Okay, fine, I know there are actually schools that allow for performing arts. But now you see a child goes through school and there is this major courses. And also parents, they just want you to go to school and pick a course. And that course may not be in line with what you find interest in.
That's true.
So don't you think that maybe the Nigerian education system should find a way to create structures and institutions whereby what the children will just learn is what they are, born with. They don't have to go through the stress of going through examinations, jam for some kind of course that they may not get out there to find a job for. So do you think that it's okay if Nigerian can actually do that, get into that?
Well, it would be okay if Nigerian system can allow that. But presently, I'm telling you, I'm afraid I don't think we are in line with what you have just said. Maybe trying to give the word, the direction to that particular, some will study chemistry and at the end they will become a fashion designer. But I believe for now we can just help ourselves. By the time you are in school and you have passion for fashion designing, you just make sure whenever you're on vacation, try and find go to a vocational study center and do some of these things. If not, you graduate after service year or during your service year, that's when you now start going for trainings like this. But when you have passion for things like, because our system does not really encourage,
And
so,
I feel that kind of a thing can even lead to depression. Like when you get out of school and you're unable to get a job of what you studied. Yes, and you appear like you are useless in the society.
That's true.
So what would you like to say about that? People that are suffering from depression, what's your advice?
This is the idea of depression. First and foremost, when you are passing through any issue or you are faced with any challenge, try as much as possible not to keep it to yourself. As much as possible, find someone you can discuss with. Now, then the society that we are in now is not even encouraging. When you see some people live a false life, when you see people the youths on the street riding big cars, then you think that you are a failure on your own part. That probably may not be the issue. So try as much as possible to run on your own lane and don't look at others running with what they have achieved so far. Just be yourself, and as much as possible, let us encourage in churches, in mosques, we should encourage people to snap out of this idea of being depressed and teach them the right give them the right message.
Yes,
right because there are times where you tell people you are going to by this time tomorrow you are going to be a millionaire, and they say,
and
man, well, yes, so we should be careful about messages like that.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I had to divert a little, and that's because this thing is something that is basically going on in the whole of Nigeria today. Like I said last week, Nigeria is ranked, I think, the 5th or the 10th country that has the high rate of suicide and depression. And so I need you all to keep, creating awareness to people around you that depression is not a good thing and suicide is never an option. Okay, so we're going to take a short break. And when we get back, we'll be going into building with specifications. What is it all about, and why do you have to build with specifications? So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back to the Moment with Christiana on Dynamic Smile TV. Okay, before we go into the topic, here is a question from one of our viewers in the house. It says, can you learn the art of drawing without necessarily being an architect?
Yes, it is possible you learn the art of drawing. You can learn how to draw, but that doesn't mean that you can produce your own drawing, your design, and submit for approval. Unless you are a qualified registered architect. But you can learn the art of drawing. You can learn how to draw.
So architect is about creativity, right?
It is, but that's not just all about architecture. If you say you are an architect, you are like the alpha, the omega of a construction industry. You are to be at you have to be there from inception even to the completion and to the handing over of that particular project. So it goes beyond just being creative
and just being able to draw.
Yes, it goes beyond that.
I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much for putting this question out. Okay, so what is building with specification?
Yes, it's an interesting topic. Building according to specifications. You see, most of the problems collapse and some other issues we're having experience in these days, this as a result of people not building in accordance to what has been specified by the designer, either the architect or the structural engineer. And also, it also has to do with not making use of competent hands. But you see, before I go further, I would like to give us an understanding, let us have an understanding of what specification is actually.
Okay.
Now, you see, specification usually has to do with detailed description or assessment of requirements, dimensions, materials that are to be used for a building, a bridge or a machine as required.
Okay.
Now, this is very important because now, if with that definition, if I try to rephrase our topic, building according to specification, then you can say that you are building according to the detailed description that has been given to you. And now maybe probably as a result of the building you want to come up with, or the machine you want to produce, or the bridges that you want to construct. So it is very, very important. Now I would like to use this as an example. Okay. God actually created the universe. And in the Holy Book, if you look at the Bible in the book of Genesis chapter 6, you will see that God that created us is even a specifier himself. God is a detailed is a detailed personality, because you discover God will not give you an assignment without giving you full detail or specification of what he expects you to do. Now, he asked Noah to come up with an ark. And God told him, he said, this is the type of wood that you have to use. He said, use a gopher wood. A gopher wood is a fine yellowish wood. Now, apart from that, he gave the dimensions of this ark. He said, let it be 300 cubits in length, let it be 50 cubits in width, let the height, let it be 30 cubits. Now, these are specifications, these are details. He gave Noah the instruction on how to even finish the interior and the exterior. Now, that is specification. Now, let me use this as an example. If I tell you, please, Christiana, I need rice. I want you to cook rice for me. Now, you need to ask me what type of rice do I want. Is it fried rice, white rice, jollof? Now, by the time I give you the details, I'm giving you specifications. So now, if we abide by these specifications, it goes a long way achieving a lot. It helps to, this specification is very, very vital in the building industry, in the construction industry, even in the manufacturing industry. Building according to specification is vital, and that can avert a lot of havoc that we're experiencing these days. Wow.
Okay, yes. So the specifications, is it being given by the architect or the owner of the house or whatever it is you want to build?
The architect will eventually give the specification. It depends if it has to do with the buildings. The architect will have to give the specification, but that is in tandem with what your client wants. But but at the same time, the architect is in a position to advise the client. There are sometimes our clients can just pick up on some materials that are not necessary or maybe not be too good for that particular design. Now, the architect is in a position to advise the client that this. So at the end, you come up with the design, the drawing, then you have the specification. That is to highlight vital information that may not reflect in your design. And it will even interest you to know that for you to know the importance of this specification, the Federal Acquisition Regulation Body in their Act of August 2017, they said if there's a discrepancy in the design and the specification, the specification overrules, takes prominence over the design. That means if you have design and you have specification, the specification will have to govern the design. That is how important this specification is. Yes. Okay. And lack of not adhering to some of these things, that is why you see collapse here and there. Okay. The specification has to even do with, aside the materials, the workmanship, the personnel involved. You need to be specific. You need to be detailed about this. They're very important.
So you said something earlier that as an architect, you have to be at the beginning, like you're the overseer of the whole project.
Yes.
So does it mean that the architect has to be on the site of whatever it is that is being built to oversee everything and make sure that they go according to specifications?
Definitely. The architect will have to be involved from A to Z till you hand over the keys of the properties to the client, because you will be the one that will have you first of all carry out a survey assessment of the way the land is, the topography. You look at the climatology that surrounds the environment. You look at, there's so many factors that surround, not just coming up with a design. You look at, is it on a flat surface or it's steep, it's slopy? You have to carry out all these research and necessary findings before, and you get the brief at the same time from your client. So from inception you have been there, and by the time the construction commences, you will still be there and continue to monitor and give instructions, maybe till the end, till when there's finishing and handing over.
Those research, do they affect the way you design a house?
Which research?
Like the research of maybe the land, like you said.
Okay, yes. Yeah, definitely. It does.
Okay.
Yes.
So that means you can't just go on to do any sort of design.
Yes, it's not advisable for a client to just say, architect, give me a 4-bedroom bungalow. Now, that is not, if you accept such a proposal, you just go ahead to design. That's unprofessional. You need to get the survey. When you get the survey, visit the site. Try to see where the sun direction is coming from, where it's setting, and you look at what do we have rocks there. You know, is the site slopey? If it's slopey, then sometimes you find some interesting topographies that will eventually lead to you playing with levels. That's where you have basement in some areas and things like that. So when you have a slopey site and you are designing a flat building on it, it doesn't work. Most times filling or cutting may not be the answer, may not necessarily be the solution.
Those stories or issues of buildings that collapse, what are the real causes? Can we say one of those causes is when you design and the design is not in alignment with the kind of structure you are building on, like the land, like you said, those things you need to watch out for before deciding on the kind of design you want. So are those what affects the structure, I mean building of house collapsing? And also, what are those other causes responsible for, you know, buildings collapsing? Is it the soil or the kind of whatever it is?
Well, there are so many factors that are responsible. I'm telling you, even you just made mention of the soil. There are so many factors. If you are coming up with, you want to come up with a structure, there is a need for you to test the soil condition. You do feasibility studies, check the soil, you do your findings, and again, if you are not patronizing the professionals, the competent hands, then you run into trouble. You know, there are so many quacks out there. You need to make use of the professionals. Now, when you have people that are not competent supervising a project for you, that could lead to a collapse. Now, there are, like we have been talking about, building according to specification. There are specifications given concerning the way the foundation will be, the depth you need to go, the mix, if it is 124, if it is 136, you know. And if you are not following the specification, then there's likely going to be a problem. Then again, we have so many inferior materials. Do you know the reinforcement steels that we use? We have the original, we call it tiger, but there are some that are fake. There are some reinforcement where you turn them over, it will break. You can imagine turning this reinforcement. And so there are so many things. Some of the cements that we use, these are factors that affect. Do you know that even using just any water affects construction? Really? You don't just, sometimes you want to cast, you want to do some concreting, and you are using the salty water. Salt and steel does not go together. It corrodes, and so these are some of the things that most people don't know. Then when you want to cast a slab now, like what they call decking, and they are not properly supported, we have props. Now these are some of the things that leads to collapse. Or you just want to, like some of the kind of contractors that we have these days. You look at, they say use Y16. Y16 has to do with the size of the rod, the reinforcement, maybe 16 mm rod. And you want to cut corners and just want to make more money. Then you will now say, no, Y16 and 12 can go together. No, these are some of the things that eventually lead to collapse. There's so many factors, so many.
Wow,
Yes.
So basically, what are those things what kind of buildings need specifications? Like, when you want to construct a bridge, does it need specifications? We need specification for any design you are coming up with. No matter how small it is.
No, even if it's a toilet, even if it's a restroom, we need specification. The type of tiles that you need. You may end up recommending a slippery tile where people go to ease themselves, and that's commotion. There are the paint, the type of material, the sanitary systems that you use there. These are even bridges. Do you know you can come up with a kind of bridge that you say this is for cars only.
Okay.
That's the kind of specification they got in constructing that bridge. And we have one like that in Ibidun here. Lorries, heavy trucks cannot go over that particular bridge. Now, probably they have designed not for heavy trucks, but maybe for cars and light lorries, you know. So there is nothing that you design that does not have specification. Yeah, very, very important. Okay, so, very, very important.
Also, I would like to ask, what is the difference between an architect and a builder? I mean, builder, people who study building technology, you know, I have friends that had those two.
Yes.
You know, so I tend to wonder most times what the difference is between those two categories of
yeah, definitely you should know that the architect will do the design, take the brief, do the design, do the overall supervision. But a building technologist or a builder is expected to just to supervise the construction. Now, when the building technologist or the builder is at the site supervising that particular project, the role of the architect is to ensure that what he has drawn is being properly interpreted. That is why the architect will need to visit time to time, but the builder will have to be resident to coordinate the workers at the site, the laborers, yes. So that's basically the work of...
Okay, so the builder works according to the specifications
yes,
of
that
the
has been given by the architect, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So which of these two categories can we actually say is much more important? Like
definitely.
Or that you give respect to?
The role of the architect is very,
really?
very, very important.
So you feel like without an architect, but I feel this should be a debate.
Okay.
Because I feel that without an architect, okay, fine. There will be wrong specifications or no specifications.
A lot of things will go wrong in the building industry.
Okay, but if there is architect without builder, who will build? The
architect can design and supervise. It's even easier for the architect to supervise. They play the role. It's just that it's very, very good if we give ourselves accord ourselves the opportunity of performing our roles. But I'm telling you, the truth of the matter is a building can be constructed with the architect being on ground. But the builder cannot go and take brief from a client and says he wants to design. It's not possible.
So there is nothing that the builder knows that the architect does not. Is there something that makes the builder have upper hand?
In fact, a builder or a building technologist, that course, building technology, is even an aspect of what we were taught in school. So that implies that there is nothing a builder will do at the site that the architect. In fact, the architect is like saying the architect is a jack of all trades, master of design. That's it. We know specifications of reinforcement. If a structural engineer should design, it is the duty of the architect to look at what the structural engineer has come up with. Look at the way he has placed his reinforcement. So when you get to the site, if the builder or the building technologist is at the site monitoring, supervising, then I should be able, as an architect, I should be able to read what the structural engineer has designed and make sure that what they are doing at the site is in conformity with what is going on, is tallying with the design, you know. So basically, practically, we are knowledgeable in every aspect of the industry.
That's fantastic.
That makes us unique.
That's fantastic. Okay, so as an architect, are they open to money? Like, for example, is it normal that I see an architect and I'm like, that's a very rich person? Is it normal, or it's because we are not into that system, so we don't know how things go? Or is it so nice? Are there no challenges? Like, they don't ever feel that, why did I even pick this job? So are they open to money? Are they the rich people that we have in the
architecture I will be sincere, is a lucrative course, a lucrative profession. I'm telling you. But the truth of the matter is, all fingers are not equal. Not all those that studied architecture will be rich. That's the truth. I've seen architects that have gone into furniture making, steel, interlocking, production of interlock. But the truth of the matter is, it's a lucrative profession. If you get a contract, if you just try as much as possible to be registered with your association, and then you discover that when one job that you get as an architect can sustain you for 3, 4, 5 years. There are jobs like that. And you can be, at times you can be without getting any contract for months or years. It happens. But I'm telling you, if you are prudent, if you know how to handle your finance, you will be able to, you will live well. You will live a good, comfortable life. Yes.
You spoke about association.
Yes.
All architects do have associations.
Yes,
that
ACON.
must join.
Association of Registered. Yes. You have to. We have the institute, which is NIA, and we have ACON. The ACON is a regulatory body. Now you have to pass through ACON. You have to sit for your exam to be qualified, and there's a need for you to belong to that association. That is the Nigerian Institute of Architects.
Wow. Okay, so that's when you can be called a certified architect.
Exactly.
Does the same thing apply to a builder?
Yes. They have their associations. All professional bodies, the surveyors, the builders, the architects, the engineers, we have them like that.
Okay, so is there any other thing that we need to know about the building with specification that we have not really talked about?
There are lots. You know, why do we even need this specification? Sometimes it gives a leverage, a platform. When you want to take, for example, you want to get quotes for a particular project as a contractor. Now, this specification is like a guide. It helps you to do your costing. Now, it gives a leverage competition. You know, you want to quote for a particular project. I want to quote for a particular project. Now, if that particular project is well documented with specifications, then you will know that when you are quoting for paints, you know the kind of paint you are going for. You're not just saying just apply paint. Be specific. Apply this particular type of paint. Use this type of roof. We have long span. We have the Gerard. We have corrugated roofing sheet. When you are specific, it helps anybody that is doing the costing to be able to come up with a definite. I'll talk about there are 3 major types of specification, which I call the 3 Ps. You know, there's this prescriptive type of specification, there's performance specification, and there is this proprietary specification. That's the prescriptive is not suggestive at all. You don't say, let's use between 2 and 3. No, you have to be definitely. You have to be specific. Let's use 2. 2 is 2. Let us use white paint. Here is white. You know, that is now the performance has to do with how the required machinery, that is how it will be installed, how it should be installed. Now, talking about required machinery and the function of a machine in terms of performance. Take, for example, you have given a specification. You need to let us know. You have specified this, maybe a building. Is it residential? Is it a commercial? You know the number of people that will be making use of that particular structure. Now, the performance is how many occupants, the number of occupants that will take. You want to know, is it going to be overloaded if it exceeds this? Then the proprietary has to do with brand names. You know, you just say, we are using this particular type of product. It's a brand name, you know, that has been tested over time. So these are the various types of specifications, which are very, very important. Very, very important. So
I also want to ask, men looking at a house,
yes,
or a structure, a building structure, can you tell if it's lacking the fundamental specifications? Like if I see a building as an architect and then I just look at the building, can I tell from just looking at it that this house is not well constructed?
As an architect, I've been in the practice for over 18 years now. If I the first thing an architect should do is when you get to an environment, look at the structures around. Is it that you try to admire, appreciate what has been done, or you condemn? An architect will not just go to a place like that. So if there are times that I go to some, I will enter into some buildings and I'll just know that something is wrong. I'm telling you, instinct will just tell you something is wrong. Probably the headroom is not high enough, and psychologically it has its own effect. We do psychology in architecture too. When a building, when the headroom is not enough, when you are not,
you have to bend.
Yes, then it gives a psychological depression that something is not just okay here. Then you get into some places, we speak with paint, colors. So when the color is too, when it's supposed to be calm, it's too sharp. Yes, interior.
Wow. So you also do.
There are landscape architects, there are interior architects, and you know what? So there are colors. You don't just make you use any color. When the color is too sharp, when it's supposed to be calm, then there's a problem. Something is not just right.
Okay. So, you said you've worked for over 18 years as an architect.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a lady in this profession?
So many of them.
Really?
Yes, we have wonderful architects.
Wow,
yes.
there are ladies.
There are ladies.
Wow,
I know it's always tasking, but they are really, the few ones I've met are really, they are doing fine in the industry, yes.
Okay, you talked about the interior too. Do you also influence the interior design,
of course,
the whole interior design? Is it that you study that outside?
No, that's part of architecture. That's part of architecture.
So you can actually design the interior.
I'll tell you, use this type of ceiling, use this type of wall, the painting, maybe now that we're even having different kinds of wallpapers, the 3D wallpaper.
Yeah, I see those 3D a lot.
So that is, even if you ask me to design a studio like where we are now, then I'll tell you, I have to definitely talk about the acoustics. Yes, that is still part of.
So, is it possible to study interior design alone without being an architect?
Well, some people do. Some people do.
Okay, so architecture is just.
We are master. We are jack of all trades.
Now I understand what you meant by that. I was wondering what you meant by that, but now I see. Wow, that's fantastic. Okay,
yes.
So right before we're actually going off now, but do you have any advice to the viewers in the house?
Well, my advice to viewers is to make sure you patronize professionals, qualified architects. Now, there are so many quacks out there, but the truth of the matter is we need you to patronize those that are qualified to handle your project, your designs. And I'm telling you, I can assure you, get the best out of it. So
you'll not be victims of
collapse. Yes.
Okay, so what if we have viewers who are intending or desiring to actually get to work with you? How do they contact you? Is there maybe a social handle that they can reach you on, so that in case anybody wants to? Like I said,
I'm with Archi Consultants. You can always reach us at Archi Consultants, www.archiconsultants.com. And do I need to give a phone number?
No, if you can, yes.
Yes, sure. So they can reach us on 080 30 78 0076.
Again, it's happening.
080 30 78 0076.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So you all see that it's essential that we all listen to what we listen to today, so that you don't become victims of disaster, natural disaster and collapse. So you can call on that number or reach on the website he mentioned if you need a certified architect to help in your project or building construction. Okay, so it's been a wonderful moment this night, and it's such a great honor to have you viewers watching us right now, and we are so thankful for always staying connected. And so till we meet again next week, same time, same station, Dynamic Smile TV. Stay connected and stay blessed. Thank you. Good night. Shani, no problem.